In better times, with better political leaders, the tragic shooting of Rene Good in Minneapolis would have caused each side in the fight over immigration and customs enforcement to de-escalate, to learn from what had happened and calm down. Instead, both sides are courting more confrontation, which could end up with even more bloodshed.
Would you describe it as an insurrection, and do you believe the president should invoke the Insurrection Act?
I describe it as violent and a violation of the law in many places. We did discuss the Insurrection Act. He certainly has the constitutional authority to utilize that.
Under the Insurrection Act of 1807, President Trump would be able to call on the military to restore public order, just as George H.W. Bush did in 1992 during the Los Angeles riots. But a president does need to meet certain conditions.
If the governor requests the assistance of federal troops, the president may deploy them. The second section of the Insurrection Act says that the president can deploy federal troops even against the state's wishes in order to, quote, enforce the laws or to suppress rebellion against the U.S. government.
Now, according to media reports, the protests in Minneapolis are largely peaceful, marred by some individual acts of obstruction or violence against ICE agents, and triggering the Insurrection Act could incite even more protests. Ultimately, now is the time to dial down the rhetoric, not amp it up, and authorities on both the left and right are seemingly making matters worse.
Let's be very, very clear. This long ago stopped being a matter of immigration enforcement. Instead, it's a campaign of organized brutality against the people of Minnesota by our own federal government.
To all ICE officers, you have federal immunity in the conduct of your duties. And anybody who lays a hand on you or tries to stop you or tries to obstruct you is committing a felony.
If you see these ICE agents in your neighborhood, take out that phone and hit record.
You have immunity to perform your duties, and no one, no city official, no state official, no illegal alien, no leftist agitator or domestic insurrectionist can prevent you from fulfilling your legal obligations and duties.
Help us create a database of the atrocities against Minnesotans, not just to establish a record for posterity, but to bank evidence for future prosecution.
The Department of Justice has made clear that if officials cross that line into obstruction, into criminal conspiracy against the United States or against ICE officers, then they will face justice.
There's no denying that some ICE opponents seem eager to incite agents into a belligerent response. Obstructing a federal officer in the course of doing his or her duty is illegal and deserves to be prosecuted. At the same time, acts of civil disobedience have a long and sometimes noble history. But those getting involved, including those who get caught up in a heated situation, must also face the legal consequences.
I've seen conduct from ICE that is disgusting and is intolerable. And for anyone that is taking the bait tonight, stop. That is not helpful. Go home. We cannot counter Donald Trump's chaos with our own brand of chaos.
One of President Trump's campaign promises that led to his re-election was the mass deportation of illegal immigrants who arrived in the US during Joe Biden's presidency. But this isn't playing out the way that many people thought it would. Yes, targeting criminal migrants has popular support for obvious reasons, but too often the ICE sweeps are catching otherwise law-abiding migrants who are awaiting their asylum hearing or who've been in the US for years. And when Mr. Miller set his target for ICE of 3,000 arrests a day, he set in motion enforcement that was bound to result in overkill and family breakups.
When you see what's going on in Minnesota, we're taking out the worst, some of the worst criminals in the world are being taken out of our country. Murderers, drug dealers, some of the worst in the world. We have the lowest crime with best crime numbers we've ever had.
President Trump has the legal authority to unleash ICE, and the agents are doing what they're told to do. The way to defeat the Trump policy is at the ballot box in 10 months, not by obstructing agents in violation of the law.
We're Minnesota strong. We're not going to give up. We got this in this weather. We can be out here longer than they can.